This is a story of a young horse and how this horse got his name. It's also about a place called Shireland, which they say is right near the North Pole. And it's a story about the largest horses in the world, the great Shire horses.
How come I'm the only one around here that doesn't have a name? How do I get a name? I think I'll go see King Shire. He's the biggest and the wisest one of us all.
How can I help you, young one?
Asked the king. The young horse launched into his tale of woe.
Well, it isn't fair. I mean, everyone else around here has a name and a job of some sort. All I get to do is stand around and graze all day, while the other Shires call me kid or hey you.
Now, this wasn't a very unusual situation, as the king explained.
Shire horses aren't given birth names. They have to earn their names, prove their worth, so to speak. You are growing up, young Shire, even faster than I realized. I guess it's time I found a name task for you.
Really, Your Highness? You mean I get to do something important and earn a name for myself?
Ah, such youthful confidence. Be prepared, young Shire. It may not be as easy as it sounds.
What do I have to do?
That's when the king opened the pathway through the mists of time and space and brought forth the image of a strange and unhappy place.
Down there is a town called Maryville, but it isn't very merry. Just look at what's happened. The grown-ups are grumpy. They can't get along with each other, even though Christmas is just a few days away.
You're in my way. I don't hear it.
And the worst part is that the children are worried. They don't seem to understand what's going on.
Oh, how sad. I hate to see anyone unhappy. I know what that's like. So is that my task? To put smiles back on the faces of the children?
That's partly it. You must discover the rest for yourself.
I'll do my best. I only hope I can help them.
And so the young horse trotted off down the pathway through the mists of time and space to that peculiar place, Maryville. And when he got there, he hid around a corner, concentrating on watching those children, especially the unhappiest one of all, a little boy named Bobby.
Did the grown-ups forget about Christmas?
Bobby wondered. His sad little voice touched the young horse's heart.
Forget about Christmas? That would be terrible. We should talk to my grandpa about this. Maybe he'll know what to do.
So the children started off to see Bobby's grandpa. The young horse raced ahead of them to the edge of town where he hid behind a tree, waiting to be discovered. They hadn't gotten very far when Bobby spotted the young Shire.
Wow! Look at the giant horse. I wonder where he came from. He looks lost. I've never seen a horse this big before. Maybe we'd better take him with us. Come on, boy. We won't hurt you.
It was the first hint of a smile the young horse had heard in any of their voices. Feeling good about making the kids just a little bit happier, he willingly followed them to Bobby's house. When they arrived, the children ran up to Grandpa, and they all tried to talk to him at once.
We found this horse. He came out of nowhere, and he was all by himself. He must be lost. Isn't he beautiful?
Grandpa waited until everybody quieted down.
He's a Shire, the largest and the most powerful horse in the world.
And he followed us home, which means he likes us.
Now, don't you kids set your hearts on keeping him. He must belong to someone, somewhere.
Grandpa, he's got to be tired and hungry and lonesome.
Don't worry. We'll take care of him until someone comes along to claim him.
Yay! That's terrific! That's great! Oh, boy! Thanks, Grandpa.
So the kids put their new friend in the barn. They gave him some hay and groomed him until he sparkled. They laughed and giggled while they worked. The young horse thought he never heard more pleasant sounds. Then Grandpa called the kids back to the house to join him for some hot cocoa and to listen to a story about the Shire horses. The young Shire, not wanting to miss out on anything, followed and listened just outside the window.
Now, everybody sit down, and I'll tell you a story about the great Shire horses. You see, the great Shire horses have been man's friends ever since medieval days, when they carried the brave knights of Camelot on their strong backs. They called these giant horses chargers, and only the king's bravest knights could ride them. These knights and their chargers battled giant dragons and sometimes rescued fair maidens from fates worse than death. The young Shire you found on the road and all his relations are descendants of these great and noble chargers. Some even say that the Shire horse comes from a very special place called Shireland.
Gee, Grandpa, where do they think it is?
They say it's near the North Pole, but no one really knows for certain. It's said that Shireland is a place where circus wagons fly through the air, pulled by teams of giant Shire horses. They say Shireland is a happy place where the grass is greener than any place else in the world, where everyone dresses up as clowns. Balloons and music fill the air, and everybody is always happy there.
As Grandpa finished his story, the children's heads were filled with visions of Shireland. In the excitement of finding the Shire, the children had completely forgotten why they had gone to see Bobby's grandpa in the first place. Then Bobby remembered.
Grandpa, the grown-ups in town seem too busy to think about Christmas. Christmas is only 6 days away, and there aren't any decorations in Maryville, and no Christmas music. Not even any Christmas cookies in the bakery.
What? No Christmas cookies? Oh, this could be serious. We'll have to find a way to remind the grown-ups in town about Christmas.
I've got an idea. We could have a Christmas parade. We could build a circus wagon, and the Shire could pull it through town. Just like in Shireland.
Hey, that's a good idea, Bobby.
Forgetting about Christmas must be why the grown-ups are grumpy. Ah, I can see it now. This is my chance to earn my name.
The next day, the children fixed up an old wooden cart that had been sitting in a dusty corner of the barn. They painted it a bright, shiny red and hung a sign on the back that read, "Don't forget Christmas." Then Grandpa surprised everyone with a Christmas tree that he loaded in back of the wagon. And when they were done, the young horse proudly took his place at the head of the parade. Finally, they got to Maryville, but much to their surprise, the people didn't even look at them.
I don't understand this.
The young horse thought. The young Shire was so upset, he didn't watch where he was going, and the cart hit a big hole in the road. He stopped immediately. It was too late. All the wheels fell off. And then the back of the cart fell forward and the front of the cart fell backward. And what had been a very special Christmas circus wagon was now a big heap of junk. And it was laying right in front of the town hall. The mayor rushed out with a sour look on his face.
Don't you kids have anything better to do than to make a mess?
The children piled everything into the bottom of the cart, and the young Shire dragged it all the way back home, depressed because he hadn't been able to earn his name after all. He thought the grown-ups were grumpy because they'd forgotten about Christmas, but it was obvious that they didn't want to remember.
What happened to the magic in their hearts?
He wondered, but suddenly he realized.
That's it. That's what's missing. Magic.
That night, as he gazed at the moon from his stall, he knew what he had to do. He left the barn and leaped over the fence, following the light of the golden moon's glow. He walked just past the farthest hill, and then he walked a little further still. He walked and walked until he was back in magical Shireland.
Home.
He said softly, looking around at the balloons, clowns, and other Shire horses.
Shires with names.
He reminded himself. Just then, he saw King Shire at the top of the tallest hill in the land. The young horse ran up the hill, eager to tell the king about his great plan.
Back so soon, young Shire?
Yes, sir. But I've got to go back to finish my job as soon as I get help.
Did you figure out what's wrong in Maryville?
The young horse quickly told the king about everything that happened in Maryville. And then he told the king about his great plan.
A wonderful plan, but to make it work, you must learn how to fly.
Meanwhile, back in Maryville, things looked even more grim than ever. It was December 23rd, and still there were no signs of Christmas. Bobby was especially sad. His special friend had left him without even saying goodbye.
I didn't even get a chance to name you. I was gonna call you Christmas Shire.
That night, Bobby cried himself to sleep. The next morning was Christmas Eve. It was a busy day in Maryville, with people shopping and doing their errands. But still, no one seemed to care that Christmas was just one day away. The grown-ups were very busy and very crabby. The children were as sad could be. There didn't seem to be much hope for Christmas this year. Then Bobby heard some music coming from above. He looked up and the sky got brighter and the music got louder. Then, out of the fluffiest cloud in the sky appeared Christmas Shire, followed by a team of giant Shire horses pulling a magical circus wagon loaded with balloons and clowns and all kinds of animals. The streets of Maryville were filled with the most beautiful sounds of music. And then the most amazing thing happened. The grown-ups began to smile and to laugh. The young horse's ears perked up and his eyes widened at the sudden flurry of activity. His plan had worked. Like magic, Christmas decorations appeared all over Main Street. Instantly, it was Christmas time in Maryville. Street lamps were decorated like candy canes, and the candy store itself was wrapped up like a giant Christmas present, and the bakery window was filled with Christmas goodies, including cookies. Magic had found its way back into the hearts of the grown-ups. They were all smiling and laughing, and best of all, the children were very happy. The young horse stood proudly, waiting for the children as they ran towards them in the middle of the town square.
Christmas Shire, I knew you'd be back. Whoa! Christmas Shire? Why, that sounds like a name. We sure missed you, Christmas Shire. You're the best Christmas present of all. It is a name. Mine. I finally earned it.
The children danced and sang carols until a magical circus wagon had to leave and began to drift slowly away. Christmas Shire stood, torn, wanting to go home, yet not wanting to see Bobby's face grow sad.
You're not leaving again, are you, Christmas Shire?
He can't stay here, Bobby. His home is in Shireland. It's best you let him go. But he'll always be with you in your heart.
Grandpa's right, Christmas Shire. I want you to be happy too. I'll never forget you. I'll never forget you either, Bobby, because you helped me earn my name.
And with that, as the townspeople watched Christmas Shire fly after the circus wagon, they could see a little sign hanging on the back that looked very familiar. It read, "Don't forget Christmas." And so that's our tale of this young horse and how he earned his name. But this isn't the end of the story. Because you see, These Shire horses care about people. And whenever people need any help, you can believe these giant horses will be right there. Watch for them. Look up in the sky. And maybe you will see them someday flying among the clouds.